Welcome back once again to CNW 24/7. The last segment we discussed the previous night of the fight. Felix Vargas went for a movie and came back to his aunt's residence unmolested by a pocket of very looking kids wearing gang colors, showing the positive activity of Felix Vargas, saving him from ambush or danger. So this section is concentrating on the climax of the story, Amigo brothers, that is on fight night. On fight night, Tompkins Square Park. Tompkins Square Park is the venue where the match is going to be conducted. The best teenager friends are going to fight against each other in Tompkins Square Park, which is filled with the cheering fans. Fans are come up, cheering fans of these boxers. Because these fans know each contestant, that is Antonio Cruz and Felix Vargas, so well, very well. Felix and Antonio are able to counter each other's every move on two and final rounds throughout the fight. That's important. Felix and Antonio, the two contestants, the teenager best friends, are able to counter each other, fight against each other's every move on two and final rounds throughout the fight. Both the boys are battered, completely tired and exhausted by the end of the fight. When the fight comes to an end, both the contestants or both the boys, Antonio Cruz and Felix Vargas, are battered, damaged, completely wounded and exhausted by the end of the fight. But when the final bell sounds, for the conclusion of the match, they immediately embrace in shared triumph, in shared victory, in shared success, and the crowd cheers, hooray, hooray, hooray. Before the winner of the fight can be announced, or before the announcement of the winner of the match, Felix and Antonio walk away from Tompkins Square Park. Arm in one arm, in another arm, and they walk away without listening to the announcement of the winner of the match. With that, the story comes to an end. Amigo brother ends here. Now let us see the major characters of the story. We can understand that there are two major characters, that Antonio Cruz and Felix Vargas. But in the story there are many minor characters that are not of more importance. For example, fans in the Tompkins Square Park coming to witness the match. And also dark seats where Felix Vargas was confronted by a pocket of very looking kids wearing gang colors. So these are the minor characters, but we come to analyze the major characters of the story, Antonio Cruz. Let us see the description of and lanky. Antonio Cruz is a tall and lanky character, a naturally skilled. He is a naturally skilled, but at the same time, technical boxer. Naturally skilled and technical boxer. And he uses his long reach of boxing to penetrate his opponent's defenses. This is the speciality of one of the major characters called Antonio Cruz. Now let us come to another major character, equally important, that is Felix Vargas. Felix Vargas is physically short and stocky boxer. Short and stocky boxer. Not as technically skilled as Antonio. He is not as technically skilled as Antonio. But by the time Antonio is a naturally skilled and technical boxer, but Felix is not as technically skilled as Antonio, but a powerful boxer, slugger. Realize he depends upon his power of punches. He depends upon or relies on his power of punches to pummel his opponents into submission. That is the major characteristics of this boxer, Felix Vargas. So he mainly depends upon his power of punches to pummel his opponents into submission. So these are the two major characters, and here we must try to understand that these two characters finally destroys the wall which was erected between them in their mental realms. They give much importance to friendship rather than winning a match. That is what we call it as AMIGO brothers. Their attitude is very important. Since you are the learners, you must also try to understand that winning is not important, but participation is important. As true sportsman spirit is demonstrated by the two major characters in the story, AMIGO brothers. You see, they finally did not tarnish their friendship. Even before the final bell rings, they immediately embrace and share the time. They both are really true boxers, fighters, Puerto Rican true fighters that everybody knows. But they do not want to tarnish their friendship, or they do not want to construct a big wall separating their friendship between their minds. That is a very important thing. Listen here. Before the final bell sounds, they immediately embrace. They are giving importance to their friendship, even though they fought against each other. They embrace each other in shared time. They both are very good fighters. And before the announcement of the winner of the match, they left the Tompkins Square Park just like best teenage friends with one's arm in another's and they walk away. That is the real sportsman spirit. You, the learners, try to understand that if there is any competition, don't spoil your mental peace. Don't dishearten yourself. Participation is important rather than winning a competition, which shows the wonderful ideal or a moral lesson for all the learners that participation is more than winning a competition. After having discussed the major characters of the story, the second feature is literary style. What is the style of the literature used by the author, PIRI Thomas. Amigo brothers, the story told in a straightforward manner, without any kind of a roundabout. The story was narrated or told in a straightforward manner and using a third-person narrator. It is a narrative story told by a third-person narrator and narrated in a straightforward manner. So when you attempt writing about the review of the story, you can use these kinds of features of the story. So please try to attempt the review of the story Amigo Brothers by PIRI Thomas. You can first write about the author and summary and the major characters of the story. Second feature that is coming in the review, literary style. The story is narrated in a straightforward manner using a third-person narrator. And while writing this story, the prose used or the language used is simple. The prose of the story is simple and all information of the story is given efficiently and without a fanfare, without any sort of embellishments. That is another characteristics of the literary style of Amigo Brothers. The prose used in the story is simple and all information is given efficiently and without any kind of fanfare or embellishments. That is a style that makes the story accessible, understandable for all kinds of readers. That is a particular special sort of style that makes the story digestible for all sorts of readers. The dialogue, let us see, in the story there is a dialogue between the two major characters, Antonio Cruz and Felix Vargas. The dialogue includes a Puerto Rican slang, a local language, a dialectical language of the Caribbean island, that is Puerto Rican slang. So this slang adds a casual, genuine dimension. The Puerto Rican slang occurred in the dialogues between the two major characters of Antonio Cruz and Felix Vargas adds a casual, ordinary and genuine dimension. That genuinity is given to the characters' conversation. Conversation means exchanges or dialogues. So the dialogue of the two characters, when we hear, we get a reality of the culture of the characters who are from Caribbean island. That is what. So literary style is the second feature when you go for attempting the review of the story. The story told in a straightforward manner, using a third-person narrator. Prose simple. Prose is simple and information, all information is given efficiently without any kind of embellishments, without any kind of bombastic descriptions. A style, that is a style used by Mr. Thomas, makes the story digestible or accessible for all kinds of readers. The dialogue includes Puerto Rican slang, Caribbean islands, dialectical flavors are added to the conversation, which adds a casual, genuine dimension to the characters' conversation or dialogues. Next, we are coming for theme of the story. Themes. What are the themes incorporated by the author in his writing of a story? Thomas saw his writing as a tool to help kids in underprivileged New York neighborhoods see potential paths for their lives beyond the gangs and violence. Initially, I have explained that literature is used as a weapon or a tool or a medium for liberating the young adults in the underprivileged neighborhoods of New York City. That is the Spanish Harlem section of New York City. Underprivileged young people or young boys were saved from crime, violence, drugs, and his writings are used for showing a guidance to grab potential paths, potential ways for their lives rather than succumbing to gangs and to violence. A kind of a salvation. His writings are, so Thomas' writings, especially his stories, are meant as a tool to help kids, young boys or young adults in underprivileged neighborhoods see potential paths. They must aspire for a great future. They must work hard for a wonderful or prosperous future to see potential paths for their lives. They should, and beyond the gangs, they should not yield to the pressures of gang members and should not yield to violence. That is why from the story, because of the skills of or passion for boxing or best fighters, to become best fighters, that saved the lives of Antonio Cruz and Felix Vargas from drugs, violence, crimes. So that is what he is giving, a kind of a guidance through his writings. Thomas saw his writings as a tool to help kids in underprivileged neighborhoods see potential paths for their lives beyond the gangs and violence. In AMIGO Brothers, Mr. Thomas, PIRI Thomas, the writer, purposefully minimized. He did not give much descriptions for the presence and power of gangs and crime. Gangs and crime. He did not. He minimized the description only, except for one sequence. We know that. We learned that sequence the previous night. Felix Vargas went to watch a movie called The Champions starring Kirk Douglas. After having watched the flick means film or movie, he walked up some deserted streets or dark streets, deserted except for a pocket of gangs, very looking kids wearing gang colors, where he was saved or led past unmolested by the gang members by seeing his skills in fighting. That is the only one sequence where Felix was being attempted to molest. So when we write the review of the story, the second feature is literary style, first feature is major characters, the themes of the story. When you add up to this one, your review will be very excellent and it will fetch more marks for your review writing. Another feature of a review writing is purity of sports. I told that passion for a sports, especially boxing, is a positive element. It has a positivity. That is what we call it as a purity of sports. The story suggests that the sportsman's spirit-like behavior. That is a very important thing. Sportsman-like behavior that both the characters, Antonio Cruz and Felix Vargas, showed throughout each and every moment of the competition. Before the final bell rings, they embrace each other over triumph. And before the announcement of the winner, they walk away arm in arm. They don't tarnish or destroy their relationship. They destroyed a psychological wall erected between the minds of the two Puerto Rican fighters. That is what we call it as a purity of sports. Amigo brothers suggests that the sportsman-like behavior of the two contestants or the two boys have learned while training to be boxers. They are not selfish. They wanted to share their friendship rather than being a champion or a winner. So sportsman-like behavior the boys have learned while training to be boxers. That behavior helped them become remarkable. So these two characters have become remarkable for their sportsman-like behavior that they had learned while training to be boxers. That behavior makes these two characters remarkable and memorable. And this behavior helped them become remarkable. They fight each other not out of hatred. These two contestants fight against each other not out of each one's hatred towards the other, not out of hatred or even the desire to win. They fight not out of hatred, not with the objective of winning the match, but rather for the love of competition. They participate or they agree to fight against each other for the love of competition, not out of hatred, not out of the desire to win, but out of their love for competition. That is the real sportsman behavior or attitude. At the end of each fight, at the end of each round, the two boys were triumphant. They were triumphant. Both of the boys were triumphant and happy. Antonio Cruz feels happy for Felix Vargas, and Felix Vargas feels happy for Antonio Cruz. No matter, they are not minded of who wins. They are not bothered about who is the winner of the match, because they tried their best. Both of them fought their best and survived, gave much importance for their friendship. It is not, the competition is not out of hatred, not out of the concept of winning, but out of love for competition. That is that sportsman-like behavior or attitude of the two contestants made these characters remarkable, popular, and memorable. So, this purity of sports is another feature of review writing. Then, Afro-Latino heritage. Earlier I discussed Afro-Latino heritage. Latino heritage. Another feature of review writing, that PIRI Thomas was born of the son of a Caribbean or Puerto Rican mother and a black Cuban father. So consequently he was dark-skinned with focused or faced made him more problems and challenges in his life, and he had to undergo social discrimination and succumbing to gang members and activities like that I explained, and that feature also you can include for review writing. Though we came to the end of the story, Amigo brothers, then there are many activities like preparing an announcement of an event which is going to be conducted, and also review writing. These activities students should go through. Based on these classes, you will get it more accessible to the story. Wish you all the best. If you like this video, please try to subscribe our YouTube channel CNW 24/7 and enable the bell icon, and you will get further notifications. Thank you.